Hello. Welcome on back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. I feel like it's been forever since I've uploaded a tutorial on my channel. I've been spending the last couple of weeks overseas to celebrate my birthday and just to get away from it all and relax. You know how that is. But I'm back and better than ever, and today I'm showing you how I created this look, which I think is perfect for the fall season. And I'm doing this all in partnership with SHEGLAM. So without further ado, if you want to learn how I created this look right here, then keep on watching. So to begin, I'm using the La Mer treatment lotion to prep our model's skin with. This is nice because not only is it very hydrating, but it's super lightweight. In fact, it has a really similar consistency to that of a serum or even a toner. It's very, very thin, which allows it to be quickly absorbed into the skin without making your makeup feel greasy or oily throughout the day. And yes, it's a little pricey, but hey, it's La Mer. It's definitely a luxury skincare product, and a little goes a long way. Next up, I'm using the brand new SHEGLAM Skinfinite Hydrating Foundation in the shade Almond and applying 2 pumps of this into the back of my hand before applying it right on. This right here is the star of today's show. Y'all know how much I love the complexion process of glam, so I take my foundations pretty seriously. And because today's look is all about dewy, luscious skin, I'm really going to take my time applying this. Right off the bat, you can see this foundation has that luminous finish we're going for. It mimics the look of skin. It's velvety smooth. It's alcohol and fragrance free. It's medium to full coverage, but like most foundations though, you can play around with it to get the coverage you want. But what I like about this is that if you choose to go full coverage with it, it won't look cakey. You know what I mean? It looks like a second skin. It'll feel lightweight and will really help to improve dry, dull, and uneven skin tones. And the very best part about this is the price. You all, it's $9. $9. I don't even think drugstore makeup is that affordable. And technically, it's less than $9 if you use the discount code I have with them. It comes out to maybe $8 or something like that. By the way, I wanted to show you here half of the face with the foundation compared to half without. You can see we didn't lose that luminosity in the skin. It's not creasing around the mouth or eyes. It just looks really, really beautiful. But anyways, what was I talking about? The price. All right, I need to do the math on this. Let me let me grab my handy dandy calculator. Okay. So the discount code I have with them is for 15% off. By the way, you can use that site-wide both on SHEGLAM and SHEIN. The code is ItSpencer15. I'll include it down below so you can use it if you want. So here we go. It's 15% of $9. Oh, hold up now. This doesn't make sense. Where's the back button? Oh my goodness gracious. All right, forget it. I can't deal with technology right now, but you can do the math if you want. It's got to come out to maybe $7 or $8 or something like that. You can't beat that. I mean, it's unheard of. This looks like a foundation that you would spend 40 or 50 bucks on. It's fantastic. All right, let's move on. Once I have this applied, I'm going to use a different shade of the same SHEGLAM Skinfinite Hydrating Foundation. This shade here is called Camel, and I'm using this to add back some dimension to the face. Some would call it contouring, others would call it bronzing. In my opinion, it's a little bit of both. It's adding the structure we'd get from contouring, but the warmth we'd get from the bronzing. So there we have it. I'm applying this to the hollows over cheekbones, around the perimeter of the forehead, and just a smidge around the nose before blending it all in. Y'all have seen me use foundations in the past for this step. I think it's a great little hack because a lot of times brands only come out with 4 or 5 different shades of a liquid or cream bronzer, which makes it kind of tough for the everyday consumer because it's limiting. Not only does the contour bronzer need to be a couple shades deeper than our natural skin tone, but also we have to take into consideration the undertone. Plus, you know when you use 2 different shades of the same foundation together, it's gonna blend perfectly because it's the same product, it's the same formula. It takes all of the guesswork out of it for us. So I definitely recommend you try it out sometime. As for this foundation, the brand came out with 30 different shades, so there's really a good amount to choose from. They only sell their products online on their SHEIN website, so I'll link everything I use today down below for you to check out.
Okay, now that I'm finishing up on this blend, the next product I'm using is the Jouer Essential High Coverage Concealer in the shade Macaron, and I'm using this to conceal around the eyes. Of course, you can use this to highlight the forehead and the nose and all that if you want, but I'm kind of loving how the skin is looking as is, so I'm just going to use this to highlight around the under eye. I apply this on with an eyeshadow brush to the general area I want it, and then head back to my sponge to blend it all out. By the way, the sponge is also from SHEGLAM. You guys see me use it in every single tutorial, and I always get asked where I get it from, so yeah. Now you know. I mean, I've mentioned it before, but I know some of y'all are new to the channel and maybe didn't catch that tutorial or whatever it may be. But yeah, it's my absolute favorite makeup sponge. I love all the different sides it has to it for blending. I love the material, and just like the foundation, it's super affordable. I think it's only a few dollars, so I love that. All right, now that we have this concealer blended in, I'm heading over to the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Liquid Blush in the shade Grace and using this to add some color to the cheeks. I don't know if you noticed there, but I had applied this to the back of my hand first before applying it onto the face. Something about working this product into the bristles of the brush before applying it on just gives the most beautiful result. It gives me more control of how much product I'm applying, which is a very, very small amount, by the way. This liquid blush is extremely pigmented, so I recommend starting out with just a bit of it and then add more if need be. And for this look, I'm blending some of this blush up onto the brow bone and across the nose. It's not for everybody, but I don't know. I think it looks cute, and it's subtle. It's nothing too dramatic, just a little. But once I have this blush worked into the skin, I can then set these liquid products into place. To do so, I'm using the One Size Translucent Setting Powder to set that concealer around the eyes and the hard-to-reach area around the nostrils. I'm going to be very light-handed with powder today. I absolutely love the way Raquel's skin is catching the light, and I don't want to diminish that by mattifying it. Of course, if you live in a more humid climate or if your skin is prone to get oily throughout the day, you may want to use a bit more powder, but it's the fall time, the weather is cooling down, and the makeup won't have to tolerate the heat of the sun as it does in the summer. For the rest of the face, I'm taking a larger face brush and barely sweeping on the slightest amount of powder. And then to finish this off, you'll see me here in a second take a powder puff to press this powder into the skin around the T-zone. There isn't any additional product or powder on the puff. I'm just using it to press the little amount of powder we applied on with the brush into the skin. Now that we're done with the okay, I forgot about this. So yes, although I didn't add powder onto the puff a second ago for the T-zone, now I have added powder so I can use this to bake the jawline and to sharpen the contour. Okay, now for the brows, I'm using the SHEGLAM Expert Eyebrow Palette in the shade Dark Brown and using this to lightly fill in the brows with a little brush it comes with. I want the brows to be light and fluffy and natural looking today, so little by little, I'll apply on this powder to get the shape and density I'm looking for. You guys can probably tell I haven't filmed or done voiceovers in a few weeks. I sound a little rusty, but I'll get back into the swing of things quickly, I promise. Okay, now that we have this brow shaped with the powder, I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Pen in the shade Dark Brown to draw little hairs into the brow. This isn't, completely necessary, but the eye makeup is so quick and simple today that I figured I could spend a little extra time on the brows. Plus, this is one of my favorite brow products to use to get that natural wispy definition to the brows. To lock the hairs into place, I'm using the One Size BrowKiki Clear Brow Gel, and per usual, I'm first running this product against the direction the hairs grow in before taking it the opposite direction to set the hairs into place. This assures the product is fully saturated into the brows, and I think it just gives the best results, regardless of the brow gel I'm using. To begin on the eyes, I'm dipping into this shade here from the Lorac Unfiltered Eyeshadow Palette and using this to buff onto the upper eyelid. The brush I'm using here is the one that comes with the palette, so I use one end of it to apply on the shadow and then the other end of it to buff it out. Next, I'm dipping into this shade here from the same eyeshadow palette and using this along with the brush I used earlier on the brows to draw on the winged liner. Now, this is something you can do with a gel or a pencil or a liquid or, whatever you want, but something about using an eyeshadow for a look like the one I'm doing today is perfect because it's soft and subtle, whereas sometimes a gel or a pencil can be a little intense, you know what I mean? And then to work on the outer detail of the wing here, I'm using a small liner brush. I really love how this is looking. I don't use a brown liner as much as I should. It's such a classic fall look or really any time of the year, in my opinion. Also, I'm using the shadow in the inner corner of the eye to elongate the eye shape, and I'll run this through the lower lash line. You'll notice that as I'm applying this to the lower lash line, I'm kind of applying this on like dots. I do this sometimes to get that natural appearance of a chunkier lower lash when we apply on mascara afterwards. Hopefully you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. For mascara, I'm using the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara and running this through both the top and the bottom lashes. I'm going to apply on false lashes today, but I'm not using a standard strip lash. Instead, I'm applying on individuals. The one I use are from Ardell. I mix the short length individuals along with the medium length and maybe even pop on a couple long ones towards the outer corner, but it's nothing special to see, so I'm going to speed this on up so I don't bore you. It only takes a couple minutes, and as you'll see, it's quite effective. Now that I'm finishing up on this eye, I'm going to complete the other eye off camera and then dip into this Wanderlust blush from Buxom in the shade Mykonos and pop this right on the cheeks where we had applied the liquid blush earlier. This is just going to reinforce it and, if anything, complement it. It's the perfect peachy shade to pair with the baby pink we had used earlier on. To add some extra glow to the skin, I'm using this Ofra highlighter in the shade Milk and Cookies and dusting this onto the high points of her cheekbones, down the center of the nose, Cupid's bow, and you'll even see me pop this into the inner corners of her eyes and on top of the brow bone, which I think makes the look come together. Now, for such a simple look, there are quite a bit of steps here, yes, I'll admit, but if I weren't filming this and I was just doing this look on a client, it would take me maybe about 30 minutes, maybe a little longer because of the lashes, and if I were doing it on myself, it would take about 15 or 20 minutes. So try not to get overwhelmed with all the steps. You can always rewind this and revisit it whenever you need. So to start on the lips, I'm taking the Buxom Powerline Plumping Lip Liner in the shade High Def Honey and using this to line her lips with. I've shared it with y'all before. I'm absolutely obsessed with this lip liner. I used it in the bridal makeup tutorial I posted a couple months back. It's such a beautiful, neutral cappuccino shade that's perfect for a nude lip. And it has a little brush on the other end of it that you'll see me use here in just a second to buff this liner inwards. But yeah, it's such a great shade. And it ties in perfectly with the look today. I kind of want to keep the lips in the light brown shade range. I think for the fall, a moodier nude shade is all the rage. Whereas in the summer, I kind of tend to go with lighter shade nudes, usually in the peaches and pinks, but it all comes down to preference. Overall, I just like how this brown liner creates a monochromatic vibe with the brown winged liner. For the center of the lip, I'm using this Pat McGrath matte liquid lipstick in the shade Divine Nude and placing the smallest amount of this in the center of the bottom lip. Not much, just a pinch of it to give it a soft ombre effect. For gloss, I'm using this Patrick Ta gloss in the shade She's Expensive and applying this right on top. This is probably one of the only times you'll ever hear me say that I actually think keeping the lip matte would have looked really, really nice. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm happy I applied the gloss. I think it glams it up a bit, and I think it looks better than it did matte, but still, the matte lip didn't look so bad, did it? I don't know. What do you guys think? Either way, the last product I'm using here is the MAC Fix Plus Spray to set the makeup into place, which makes this the final step in how I created this fall natural glam makeup look on our naturally beautiful model, Raquel.
there we have it, kids. I hope you all enjoyed today's tutorial. If you did, be sure to give this video a big ol' thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out more of my work on my Instagram at Painted by Spencer. And until next time, I'll see you soon.